A new Supreme Court alert is reshaping the reality of gun ownership across the United States. Most people still do not fully understand what has changed. This is not a dramatic announcement about confiscation or a sweeping nationwide ban. It is something far quieter and far more dangerous for ordinary, law-abiding gun owners. One wrong step, one missed requirement, one overlooked rule, and gun rights can disappear. For years, many gun owners believed that as long as they acted responsibly, the law would be reasonable in return. If they were not violent, not reckless, and not criminals, they assumed their rights were secure. That assumption is no longer safe. The Supreme Court has clarified how gun laws should be evaluated, and that clarification is changing how states regulate, how courts rule, and how enforcement agencies behave. The most important shift is not about ideology, it is about structure. Courts are now placing much greater weight on process than on intent. What matters is not whether you tried to follow the law or believed you were compliant. What matters is whether you actually complied with the law exactly as written. In this environment, good faith is no longer a shield. The Supreme Court has reaffirmed that the Second Amendment protects an individual right. That part remains intact. But the court has also made clear that this right exists within a legal framework that allows regulation when certain conditions are met. When states design gun laws that include procedures, findings, and historical grounding, courts are increasingly willing to uphold them. That combination is what makes the current moment risky. States have taken notice. Instead of pushing broad, obvious bans that invite immediate lawsuits, lawmakers are now drafting narrower rules that appear technical and reasonable. Permits, renewals, training requirements, storage standards, reporting deadlines, and administrative reviews have become the preferred tools. Each rule looks manageable on its own. Together, they create a system where one wrong step can kill gun rights. One of the most common ways gun owners lose rights today is through permit and licensing issues. Many permits are no longer long-term. They expire. They require renewal. They require updated documentation. Miss a renewal deadline by days, or sometimes even hours, and lawful possession can instantly become unlawful. The law does not pause to ask whether you intended to renew. It only checks whether you did. Training requirements have also become a growing trap. Many gun owners believe that training completed years ago still protects them. In many states, that belief is wrong. Laws increasingly require recent, state-approved instruction. Certificates must meet specific criteria. Courts are now more willing to uphold these mandates, which means outdated training can invalidate otherwise lawful ownership. Storage laws present another hidden danger. The definition of safe storage is no longer based on personal judgment or common sense. It is defined by statute. A firearm stored in a way that feels responsible can still violate the law if it does not meet technical requirements. If someone else accesses that firearm, especially a minor, the owner may face criminal charges even if no harm occurs. Reporting requirements have tightened as well. Lost or stolen firearms must often be reported within very short timeframes. In some jurisdictions, the window is 48 hours. Stress, confusion, travel, or delayed discovery do not stop the clock. Failing to report on time can itself be a criminal offense, even though the owner was the victim. Civil court proceedings now carry far more weight than many people realize. Protective orders, restraining orders, and administrative findings can restrict firearm possession without any criminal conviction. These processes move quickly and rely heavily on paperwork. Miss a hearing. Ignore a notice. Assume it is temporary or informal. Those decisions can instantly change your legal status. The Supreme Court has emphasized that when these processes include notice, hearings, and findings, courts will treat them as legitimate grounds for restriction. That means gun owners must take civil matters as seriously as criminal ones. The idea that gun rights are only lost through criminal convictions is outdated. Enforcement behavior is also changing. When legal standards are unclear, enforcement tends to be cautious. When the Supreme Court clarifies the rules, enforcement becomes more confident. Police, prosecutors, and regulators feel safer bringing cases based on technical violations. Conduct that might have been ignored in the past is now charged. This creates a dangerous lag. Many gun owners continue living under assumptions formed years ago. They believe nothing has changed because nothing has happened to them yet. By the time enforcement increases, they are already out of compliance. The law does not warn before acting. Court challenges are not a safety net. Even if a law is controversial, it may remain in effect for years while litigation proceeds. During that time, it is enforced. People are arrested under it. Charges are filed under it. Rights are lost under it. Winning later does not undo the cost of losing now. The Supreme Court has also clarified what lower courts should focus on when reviewing gun laws. Judges now examine justification, scope, and burden. How broad is the restriction? How long does it last? Who does it affect? What procedures does it include? Laws that appear narrow, procedural, and targeted are more likely to survive early challenges. States are writing laws with this framework in mind. They frame restrictions as temporary. They tie them to findings. They include hearings and documentation. This makes the laws harder to block quickly and easier to enforce quietly. That is why many changes now happen without loud announcements. This does not mean gun ownership is ending. It means the margin for error has shrunk dramatically. Gun ownership today requires more attention, more organization, and more awareness than ever before. Small mistakes that once led to warnings or corrections can now lead to charges and permanent consequences. This is not about fear, it is about realism. The Supreme Court did not kill the Second Amendment. It clarified how that right interacts with regulation. That clarification raises the cost of ignorance. If you own firearms, plan to buy them, carry them, or transfer them, you must adjust to this reality. One wrong step can kill gun rights. Understanding that reality is the first step to protecting yourself in the new legal environment. Now let's get practical, because understanding the Supreme Court assess message only helps if it changes how you act day to day. The biggest mistake gun owners make right now is assuming the system will give warnings before consequences. In many cases, it won't. The system enforces first and explains later. Gun ownership is no longer treated as a one-time right you secure and then forget about. It is treated as an ongoing regulated status. That means compliance never ends. Paperwork is now a frontline issue. Permits, licenses, training certificates, purchase records, and storage compliance are not background details anymore. They are central. If you cannot immediately verify compliance, the system assumes non-compliance. Enforcement does not pause because you need to check something. Permit renewals, reporting windows, and training validity periods are enforced strictly. Many people believe there is a grace period. Often, there is not. A permit that expires quietly can turn lawful possession into unlawful possession overnight. Training requirements demand constant attention. Courts are now more willing to uphold training mandates when states frame them as safety measures tied to historical practice. Old certificates may no longer qualify. Training completed outside the required time window may be legally meaningless. Storage laws are another trap for responsible owners. Many people believe they are compliant because they store firearms safely. The law does not measure safety in general terms. It measures compliance with specific standards. If a firearm is accessed by someone else, especially a minor, explanations rarely help. The question becomes whether the storage method met the statute, not whether harm was intended. Protective orders, restraining orders, and administrative determinations move fast and rely heavily on paperwork. Missing a hearing or failing to respond can instantly change your legal status. Firearm possession can become illegal without a criminal conviction. The Supreme Court's guidance reinforces that when these processes include notice, hearings, and findings, courts will respect them. Silence is not neutral. It allows the process to move forward without you, and the outcome can follow you. Habits also matter more than people expect. Text messages, emails, and social media posts can now be used to justify findings of risk or noncompliance. Avoid venting in writing. Avoid jokes that can be misunderstood. Avoid statements that could be taken out of context. Being polite is important, but over-explaining is risky. Volunteering unnecessary information can create problems that did not exist before. Know what you are legally required to provide, and provide only that. Cooperation does not mean surrendering your legal position. Some jurisdictions enforce aggressively, others lag behind. Do not assume that because something is ignored locally, it is safe everywhere. Relying on future court challenges is also dangerous. Even if a law seems questionable, it may remain in effect for years while litigation proceeds. During that time, it is enforced. People are charged under it. Rights are lost under it. Winning later does not undo the damage done now. That clarity empowers states to regulate through process and empowers courts to uphold those regulations when procedures are followed. Stay informed. Themselves. Those who assume nothing changed find out the hard way. One wrong step can